Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and I'm sitting here just to be outside, outdoors. It's been raining the past, off and on the past 2 or 3 days. How long? And today you can hear it raining. It's been raining off and on since I've been out here, and I've not even been out here an hour. But anyway, just wanted to get out of the house because I usually don't go anywhere when it rains. I don't like, driving where I would hydroplane. I've actually hydroplaned once in this SUV, and the SUV only has 22,927 miles on it. Bought it new. That's not very many miles for it to be a 2019. Bought it new in May of 2019. Not very many miles at all. So anyway, I want to talk about, I guess in a way, to give some updates that go back quite a bit since, I've been on YouTube, starting with my original channel 10 days ago. It was 11 years. 11 years. It's a long time, man. But I usually don't do anything real deep on that channel, so usually. But I don't stop using it for. Well, I would just throw something on it every once in a while, but of course, it's been what they call shadow banned. So most of mine have been shadow banned. I don't expect. I would like to see one of them, at least one of them, to get this new thing. Well, it's not new anymore, where you get monetized, but not exactly monetized. Whatever it is, I don't know. I think you get you can have memberships with it. I'd like to see that, but I don't use my channels enough, or whatever. So, in over 11 years, I have more than one channel. So, anyway, I want to talk about the people, some of the people that I have run across on all these years, but not all of them, of course. People back in the day, but back when I first started off, around 11 years ago, a real major focus was community. And the different genres, and developing a community within the genres, kind of like a clique in a way. And it existed, the communities. Then it changed to brand, and once it became brand, everything changed. And then once they had the shorts, this is how I see it. And once they had the hashtag shorts, it changed again. I don't pay as much attention now to know what's going on now. But well, actually, during those, there were different things too. A lot of it involved people who did live streams. But see, this could just be what I have seen. I mean, it is, of course, just what I have seen. Nobody's experience is going to be the same. So, and that's what I have noticed because of what I see. So, you got that. Okay, so back when I first started out, like I said, it was a community kind of thing. And immediately, all I knew that I was looking for something else on YouTube. And I had YouTube probably from the start. I hadn't watched it, and I just thought of it as something for music and maybe some how-tos, like how to learn a new language, this kind of stuff. And that's basically all I knew about YouTube. And then I looked up, I was watching on TV that show had come up, what was it? Extreme couponing. And somehow I heard that there might be some on YouTube, or I looked to see if there was some on YouTube. It's been 11 years, so, I've lived quite a bit since then. And, but I looked on it, and then I ran across some people that were doing Dollar Tree hauls. And I'm like, that just seems like an everyday kind of person doing them. Because, you know, I was so totally naive. I thought, well, I'm going to do one just to see if they get, you know, if they tell me I can't do them. You know, I'm not whatever it is, you know, that you have to be in order to do your videos. You know, you see what I'm saying? I was quite naive. And I put one up, and some woman, and immediately people were like there was a community, you know, people leaving me comments, and I leave them comments. But one woman told me, she said that she left me a comment, and she said something like she likes for her girls to do some this, that, and the other, you know, when they make Dollar Tree videos. And I am nobody's girl. I don't think I even bothered responding. I think I just did the block delete kind of thing and moved on, you know. But there were a lot of people back then, and like I said, a lot of community, but there was also a lot of gossip, a lot of malicious gossip. I think they call them reaction channels, or they try to these days. Call them anything but drama, gossip, whatever. And even in a genre, you know, like people were the community, but there was so much gossip. And I am not histrionic. I am not that adult mean girl, adult mean boy, you know, that histrionic adult, you know, they are, to me, that's how I define them, as adult mean girls, adult mean boys, queen bees. You know, they think of them as themselves as superior to all. They're obnoxious. And they're drama queens, drama kings, and they're obnoxiously loud. And I mean everything about them, not just their voice and their cackle, not just those, but the way they look, the way they dress, the way they do anything is loud, very loud. But it goes on and on. You know, it's all about look at me, that kind of thing, that they want everybody looking at them, and they'll do anything to be that center of attention. You know, practically. But there were a lot of those back then. Oh yes, and some of them, I mean, I knew. I mean, it's nothing new to me because I was born and raised into seeing people like this. Okay, into it, like I say. I'm not one. I'm like the total opposite. My reaction to that craziness that I saw people doing, some of the crazy things that they would do, was, or maybe it's just who I was. I was not that way, so, you know, after I was born, you know, I just was not. I just was not like them, period. Never have been. Talking about them, however, makes it sound like I am. I've known that forever. This is not my first rodeo. This is nothing new to me. You get it? Yeah, so. And I would tend not to tell them that I know what I know about them. And when I was younger, I think really, I would say it, but I really didn't mean it. I would say that I play dumb around people so I can, I would say I play dumb around people because you wouldn't believe what they would say to you, what they would tell you about themselves when they think that you're ignorant or you're stupid, you don't catch on, you're socially inept, you know, that kind of stuff. I would say that, but I really didn't mean it. I mean, I wasn't purposefully doing that. But at the same time, it was true that I would see, I wouldn't let them know about me. Well, actually, with people who are like that, they're not going to know you. It's all about them to them. And some people think it's just a narcissist. No. But they don't really care to hear anything about anybody else and to learn anything. There are people I know, I've known since I was born, they hardly know anything about me. Because it's all about them. I have disassociated myself with them. But if I run across them, it's like, don't have time to listen to your story, because that's all they're going to do. They're going to talk about themselves, stories after stories after stories, you know, about themselves. And when they're with people, I'm making videos. If I don't tell my stories, what am I going to tell? I use it as a pressure release valve. I've said that before. You know, I'm venting. But anyway, these people back then, I mean, I knew which ones were the ones who were the mean girls, the mean boys. There were some boys back then. Some mean boys, mean men. And I remember the first time one man, he was making videos, and I think he actually said something, or he was doing something, and he let everybody know, you know, about more about him than, you know, usually people do or did back then. I mean, there's a difference. And I got this really bad feeling. You know, he was telling people what he was doing was basically at one point he gave out too much information, like where he was doing a dog sitting. That's what it was, yeah. And where he was, and then he was no longer made videos, and that was kind of spooky, you know. But I had my first computer in 1982. I've seen those kinds of things happen before. If somebody would give out a little bit too much information, like one of them before videos, back whenever it was, that the biggest thing people could do was to record their voice. When people learned how to record their voice and make it to where somebody could go to their website and find and hear them. That was a big thing. But there was a woman that she lived not too. It was like let's see, two suburbs north of here, suburbs of Dallas, and I'm there every once in a while. But anyway, she worked, and she let too many people know too much about that, and it was that voice was it. But she did a website. And she had everything on it, and it was mainly pictures and writing. And one day she said that somebody called her place. There's somebody that looked at her page, called her employer, and told her employer, you know, all that she had written on there, especially about one guy that she had a crush on that she worked with. And she says, you know, she talked about how she was really upset with that and so on. But she went on, and then the next thing I knew, she was gone. She stopped. Everything was taken down. Or she just stopped. I don't think it was taken down. She just stopped. And those kinds of things, lots of those kinds of things that, you know, had happened way back when, you know, before I ever heard of YouTube. I think before YouTube, Facebook, any of these more modern, the ones that are around, even before they were around. Let's put it that way. Yeah, things like this happening. We don't know. I mean, I never knew what happened to them. Did something bad happen? I don't know. Did it just that they could say, no more, I'm not doing this. You know, people are getting too weird. You got to watch them. So I just move on with my life. You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't know. And since then, I've had some people that I ran across, and just, they're no longer there. They're no longer making content. So, you know, you just don't know what happened to them. Okay, so had to fix something, but I stopped there for a minute to fix something. But anyway, that's a long way of, I guess, of saying, since then I've seen a lot, you know, that just so I think maybe one or two said goodbye, you know, it's been fun, but toodles, you know, that kind of thing. And then there are just some that just, I lost interest in them, they lost interest in me. I mean, I am one too. I know that, you know, you can watch something. I don't watch anything, I don't watch videos that are doing the same thing I'm doing. The people who are doing the same, you know, genres that I've done over the years. I just didn't watch them. And I mean, at first, you know, when I found out that people were doing Dollar Tree, that's all I knew. And then I decided one day to make another channel and on that channel to put, I made a video and it was talking about narcissistic people, and I just got that idea to do a video. You know, it was totally unlike, all I was doing was like Dollar Tree, and I do, you know, little kind of videos like, you know, when I'm going to Dollar Tree, you know, talk about little things. And one day I did it about narcissistic people, and the next thing I did, no, I was getting all these recommended to me, and I put it on that new channel, and I don't think I was really making that channel for that. I think it was just for anything, and then the next thing you know, I have a channel about narcissism, which people stopped watching about 5 years ago, or maybe, you know, I was shadow banned because I you know, kind of lost interest, especially since two people during, I think, 2018 to 2020, somewhere in there, when I had almost outed both of them. I said something that's very unlike me, but then it was 2020, and I'll leave out the words, and I was pretty much, it was February 2020, and I wasn't feeling so great. You know, I'd just gotten over not feeling great. I'd fallen down, busted my left knee up, re-injured it basically on a hardwood floor. Fell down, just fell down, you know. And for like 2 weeks or so, I was really not feeling well. Was stuck at home and all that. Anyway, sometime during that time, I think before it all started or whatever. Well, no, after it was after, because I was like, did that cause me to lose any filters? You know? And I was saying things like, calling these two people POSs, and I wasn't just saying POSs. That's just not me. That's just not my style. I don't cuss. I think that's just pure aggression, and I think it lacks, it just shows too much about a person, and it's not any good. Period. I just don't see it as anything good. Never have. It's like that's the weakness in a person. A big weakness is to have to resort to using cuss words to you know, to say how they feel. But like I said, I am not an angel, so I am not perfect in that. So I am not a perfect being at all. Anyway, where was I going with this? Okay, where I eventually want to get, like I said, it was an update. It sounded like something was knocking out here. It went bump, bump. I don't know what that was. Anytime I come outside, there's some kind of noise that I'm like, what in the world? But anyway, but yeah, to the more recent ones, and I'm finding that more recently, the things I'm venting about is what I see online. You know, which I'm not watching too many videos. It's like they're recommended to me. Because what I like to watch is the kittens, the cats and the kittens. I'm serious. And any of the animals, my favorites are the cats and the kittens. And don't you know, I just own dogs. So, well, they own me, but yeah. But I like watching those. I also like watching the ones that, you know, the fighter pilots and the crew on the ground. They do all these dances and stuff, and it's really cute how they do their hands and all that. And I like watching those. And usually that's about, well, I change what I like to watch, but I don't watch these. I usually don't watch, like I said, the same thing that I do myself. But some stuff has been recommended to me lately, and those are the ones I want to update on mainly. At some point, I do that every once in a while, but I've kind of, I mean, what goes on behind the scenes, and I make these videos, and then I don't put them up all at one time, so there are videos sitting on my camera, and I haven't put them up, and a month has gone by. You know? I remember one time it was like 6 months or something. That was years ago. But, yeah. So I have moved on because it happens every year. I do videos about these e-beggars and such, people like that. And just the despicable people. And next thing I know, they're, recommending more and more and more to me, different genres. They're not always e-beggars, but, some of those I want to update. And I've basically moved on from those, but the update's there. I haven't done the total update. I go back and, went back and forth, and I do this every year. Go back and forth on saying, really feeling it, and I come basically to the same kind of conclusions. I guess I could say that's stuff I want to update. Is the conclusions is the same. Start off with, I always say, it's so scripted, and they are, because every year, it's like, 'tis the season for them to start e-begging again. Sometimes it's twice a year. But I think since 2020, I hadn't done it as much. Not this year. I think I'm making up for all those at the time. Anyway. Okay, but, like I said, I had moved on, and then I went to check. I don't know if that was earlier today or yesterday evening. I don't know. I went to check on some of them that I hadn't looked at in a while, and because I want to do this update thing too, but just to see. I went to just to see what they were doing, because I wanted to see something that maybe I had missed before. Well, I didn't bother watching any of them, but well, actually, one of them I looked at a couple of things. I'm like, this is. I'm kind of curious of which way I should look at this. The ones that they play by the script, and they actually will kind of like defend themselves on what they're doing, and all it is when it gets down to it, they're using the system somehow. They're doing stuff that is just not right, and not any decent person would do such a thing to get money, for the love of money, that kind of thing. And how they're hurting other people by doing such things. And one of usually they're defending themselves. They start off, and somewhere in their video they're defending their reason for doing this, and they're smirking, and they're like they're holier than thou, and they know better, and all of you who are complaining, you're just haters, and then they play like they're the victim, or they're helping out the people, like the ones that do the food banks. They're saying, if it weren't for us, this food would just get old and bad, and they'd have to throw it away, so we're helping them out. Please. Some people, oh my gosh. But there's that type that does something like that. Okay, I think I put that in a funny way, that I'm curious how I should behave. No, I tell myself how I should behave. But I'm curious how I'm going to. So far, I think I'm just going to move on. Like I've already moved on. I was just curious, but and there's this other type, and they are totally indifferent. Seriously. It is as though that they have either one of them, like they don't have much of a conscience, they no remorse, guilt, shame, which is what I was taught as a psychopath. But I'm not calling them a psychopath. It's like theirs is very dim, if exists. They don't seem to feel empathy, and they're just, their goal of making the money is so strong that the ones, like I say, defend themselves. They know right from wrong, but they try to find a way to justify it. These other ones, there's more than one type, more than two types, But the big ones that stand out, the other ones, they're indifferent, apathetic. They do not, none of it really seems to, they don't seem to try to defend themselves. Maybe they heard somebody do it before, so they think they should, but they really don't. They really don't care what other people think at all. Those are quite scary. I mean, and they seem like, sometimes, not always, but they seem kind of like just your average person, you know? And nothing, you know, when you just meet them or something, they just seem like an average person. Nothing bad, but then you see them, I don't know, I've never seen somebody, didn't see them on video, but that's what they get, that's the air they give off. That in person, they might have a good job, you know, place, you know, kind of a job that requires this, that, the other, you know, but when they do videos, it's like you're seeing somebody that has no, you know, they do not feel bad at all of what they're doing. No remorse, no guilt, no shame, no care in the world. They don't even address it, because it's not an issue. This is just how it's supposed to be. As if they don't, it's in a way as if they don't even think about it. It's just how they live. They don't think that's wrong. They don't think about it at all. You know, they don't sit there and evaluate what they're doing and think, okay, it's like they don't know right from wrong. They don't know right and wrong exist. That kind of extreme. And you'd think you'd see that person and you'd think, oh, something would stand out about them, but they don't seem like it. No, you know, until you see them on video, maybe. I don't know how to describe it, because I don't know any of them, like I said, in person. But you kind of get the gist that they know how to behave in person, to where people, because you know they do have scenes where they're in person with people, you know, and they just know how to behave. It just comes automatic to them, how to behave with people at a business or this or that, you know, out in the public. But what they do, I don't know how to go deeper. Okay, actually, I think I'm going to wrap this up. And I came out here because in the house I was having a weird feeling like I had had too much caffeine, and I don't drink anything with caffeine, so what was going on, you know? But I have been doing this year, especially knowing that I need to get out of the house at least once a day, because the air inside, you know, I have a big 2-story house, nice house and all, but the air inside, especially when it depends a lot on the weather, I've noticed, but especially when like the air conditioner or the heater is not cutting on. You know, it's at that temperature where it's comfortable inside. It doesn't need to come on, you know, the AC or AC heater unit. And that is when, you know, there's no circulation. I mean, we have fans and ceiling fans, stuff like that. Still, it's just not enough, and then I need to come outside, go into a different, you know, sit in my SUV with the air on. Yeah, I actually need that, so, you know, that's what I do it. And I think before now, I was doing that too, just not thinking deep enough about why I didn't have what I had. I was diagnosed earlier this year was heart failure, mild. They said it was a warning. It was my warning, my body warning me that you better shape up or it's going to get worse. You know? And so before that, maybe that's why I would come out here sometimes, you know, subconsciously, and make videos, you know. Anyway, but then I also had this whole problem that's too noisy in my house. too noisy. Anyway, wrap it up. Talk to you on another video. Bye.